Breakdowns were frequent, but repairs could be made without calling the plumber, the electrician, the computer scientist, or the accountants and the investment advisors. Failure in one area seldom had direct impact on another. Today, the tools we use are complex, and breakdowns can be catastrophic, with far-reaching consequences. We must be constantly aware of the likelihood of malfunctions and errors. Without a command of probability theory and other instruments of risk management, engineers could never have designed the great bridges that span our widest rivers. Homes would still be heated by fireplaces or parlour stoves. Electric power utilities would not exist. Polio would still be maiming children. No airplanes would fly, and space travel would be just a dream. The scientist who developed the Saturn V rocket that launched the first Apollo mission to the Moon put it this way: "You want a valve that doesn't leak, and you try everything possible to develop one. But the real world provides you with a leaky valve. You have to determine how much leaking you can tolerate." Obituary of Arthur Rudolph in the New York Times, January 3, 1996. Without insurance in its many varieties, the death of the breadwinner would reduce young families to starvation or charity. Even more people would be denied health care, and only the wealthiest could afford to own a home. If farmers were unable to sell their crops at a price fixed before harvest, they would produce far less food than they do. If we had no liquid capital markets that enable savers to diversify their risks, if investors were limited to owning just one stock, as they were in the early days of capitalism, the great innovative enterprises that define our age, companies like Microsoft, Merck, DuPont, Alcoa, Boeing, and McDonald's, might never have come into being. The capacity to manage risk, and with it the appetite to take risk and make forward-looking choices, are key elements of the energy that drives the economic system forward. The modern conception of risk is rooted in the Hindu-Arabic numbering system that reached the West 700 to 800 years ago. But the serious study of risk began during the Renaissance, when people broke loose from the constraints of the past and subjected long-held beliefs to open challenge. This was a time when much of the world was to be discovered and its resources exploited. It was a time of religious turmoil, nascent capitalism, and a vigorous approach to science and the future. In 1654, a time when the Renaissance was in full flower, the Chevalier de Marais, a French nobleman with a taste for both gambling and mathematics, challenged the famed French mathematician Blaise Pascal to solve a puzzle. The question was how to divide the stakes of an unfinished game of chance between two players when one of them is ahead. The puzzle had confounded mathematicians since it was posed some 200 years earlier by the monk Luca Pacioli. This was the man who brought double-entry bookkeeping to the attention of the business managers of his day, and tutored Leonardo da Vinci in the multiplication tables. Pascal turned for help to Pierre de Fermat, a lawyer who was also a brilliant mathematician. The outcome of their collaboration was intellectual dynamite. What might appear to have been a 17th-century version of the game of Trivial Pursuit led to the discovery of the theory of probability, the mathematical heart of the concept of risk. Their solution to Pacioli's puzzle meant that people could for the first time make decisions and forecast the future with the help of numbers. In the medieval and ancient worlds, even in pre-literate and peasant societies, people managed to make decisions, advance their interests, and carry on trade, but with no real understanding of risk or the nature of decision-making. Today we rely less on superstition and tradition than people did in the past, not because we are more rational, but because our understanding of risk enables us to make decisions in a rational mode. At the time Pascal and Fermat made their breakthrough into the fascinating world of probability, society was experiencing an extraordinary wave of innovation and exploration.